The Recovery Fund is one of the most important consumer protection mechanisms established under Arizona real estate law. It reflects the state's commitment to maintaining integrity, fairness, and accountability within the profession, while safeguarding the public from financial harm caused by dishonest or untrustworthy licensees. This fund, established under ARS Section 322186, is administered by the Arizona Department of Real Estate ADRE and serves as a last resort remedy for members of the public who have suffered actual monetary losses as a result of a real estate licensee's fraudulent or unlawful actions during the course of a license transaction. The purpose of the Recovery Fund is to protect consumers and uphold the credibility of Arizona's real estate industry. While the ADRE regulates and disciplines licensees through investigations, suspensions, and revocations, those actions alone do not compensate victims financially. The Recovery Fund fills that gap by providing financial restitution to aggrieved parties after all other legal options have been exhausted. It represents the principle that the real estate profession must not only regulate itself, but also take responsibility for repairing harm caused by those who violate the law or the commissioner's rules. The Recovery Fund is financed entirely by licensees. Every person applying for an original real estate license contributes to the fund through a designated fee at the time of licensure. According to ARS Section 32-2186A, each salesperson pays an additional $10, and each broker pays $20, which are deposited into the fund. These fees accumulate over time to ensure that the department can compensate qualifying claimants. The legislature has established that the fund must maintain a minimum balance of $600,000 to remain solvent and capable of fulfilling its purpose. If the balance ever falls below that threshold, additional assessments may be imposed on license renewals until the required balance is restored. It is important to understand that the Recovery Fund is not designed to act as a substitute for private insurance or legal settlements. Rather, it is a fund of last resort, meaning that a claimant must first attempt to recover damages directly from the licensee through civil court proceedings. Only after the claimant obtains a valid civil judgment against the licensee and demonstrates that the judgment cannot be satisfied because the licensee is insolvent or otherwise unable to pay, may the claimant apply for payment from the Recovery Fund. This process ensures that the fund is used responsibly and only for legitimate, verified claims. For example, imagine that a broker in Phoenix misappropriates $30,000 in client escrow funds and subsequently declares bankruptcy. The victim sues the broker and wins a civil judgment. But because the broker has no assets left to satisfy the judgment, the court directs the claimant to apply to the Recovery Fund. If approved by the ADRE and the court, the fund would compensate the claimant up to the statutory limit for their proven loss. Under ARS Section 32-2188A, the maximum amount that can be paid from the fund is $30,000 per transaction and $90,000 per licensee, regardless of how many transactions are involved. This limitation protects the fund from depletion while still providing meaningful relief to victims. If multiple claimants file against the same licensee, their combined payments cannot exceed $90,000, and payments are made on a proportional basis, depending on the losses sustained. Once the Recovery Fund compensates a claimant, the license of the responsible real estate professional is automatically terminated under ARS Section 322188B. The licensee cannot reapply for a new license until they have fully reimbursed the fund for the amount paid on their behalf, including interest. This ensures that individuals who have caused financial harm cannot continue practicing real estate until they have made full restitution to the public. In this way, the Recovery Fund enforces not only financial accountability, but also ethical responsibility. The existence of the Recovery Fund also plays a crucial educational role within the real estate community. It serves as a reminder that the actions of a single unethical licensee can reflect on the entire profession. Brokers and salespersons are encouraged to maintain proper supervision. Follow trust account requirements under ARS Section 32-215-1.01 and disclose all material facts in compliance with Arizona Revised Statutes Section 32-2153A3 to prevent situations that might lead to claims. In practice, the Recovery Fund has provided thousands of Arizona consumers with protection against fraudulent activity while reinforcing the importance of professional conduct among licensees. For example, a licensee who knowingly sells property without disclosing that they do not own it, or who misrepresents the condition of a property to induce a sale, may face a Recovery Fund claim once the victim obtains a court judgment. The ADRE carefully reviews such claims, ensuring that only legitimate victims of fraudulent acts committed during license activities receive compensation. The Recovery Fund also helps restore public trust after violations occur. It demonstrates that while the department cannot prevent every act of misconduct, it has systems in place to mitigate damage and hold licensees accountable. This contributes to the ongoing confidence of buyers, sellers, and investors who engage with Arizona real estate professionals. In summary, the Recovery Fund is more than a financial safety net. It is an embodiment of Arizona's ethical standards in real estate practice. By ensuring that victims of dishonest licensees are compensated, the fund enhances the public's confidence in the regulatory system and reinforces the expectation that licensees will act with honesty, integrity, and transparency. Review summary. In this section, you learn that the Recovery Fund, established under Arizona Revised Statutes Section 322186, serves to compensate consumers who suffer financial losses due to the fraudulent acts of licensed real estate professionals. It is funded by licensee contributions and maintained by the Arizona Department of Real Estate. The fund operates as a last resort, providing relief only after a claimant secures a civil judgment and proves that the licensee cannot satisfy the debt. Payments are limited to $30,000 per transaction and $90,000 per licensee. Once a payment is made, the responsible licensee's license is terminated until full reimbursement to the fund is made. The Recovery Fund reinforces accountability, promotes ethical practice, and strengthens consumer confidence in Arizona's real estate industry. Discussion. Why is the Recovery Fund considered a fund of last resort? Answer. Because claimants must first attempt to collect their judgment directly from the licensee before applying to the fund for compensation. What is the maximum payment limit per transaction and per licensee? Answer. $30,000 per transaction and $90,000 per licensee, as stated in ARS Section 32-2188A. What happens to a licensee's license after the Recovery Fund pays a claim on their behalf? Answer. The license is automatically terminated until the licensee repays the fund in full, including interest. Who finances the Recovery Fund? Answer. It is financed through fees paid by real estate license applicants and renewals, not through taxpayer money. Why is the Recovery Fund important to Arizona's real estate consumers? Answer. It protects consumers from financial losses caused by dishonest or fraudulent licensee behavior and restores public trust in the real estate profession. Closing remarks. The Recovery Fund represents Arizona's dedication to fairness, transparency, and consumer protection in real estate. It ensures that victims of unethical conduct have a way to recover their losses while reinforcing that honesty and accountability are at the heart of the profession. For real estate professionals, it is a reminder that every transaction must be handled with integrity, as their actions not only affect their clients, but also the reputation of the industry as a whole. The Recovery Fund stands as both a shield for the public and a standard of responsibility for every licensee in Arizona.